Hey, what's up guys? Gaburan Quiet here. This video tonight is gonna be on Binah or Saturn, aka Sabete or Shabte. So yeah, let's get right to it. But before we get started, I wanted to let everyone know that I'm reading off of a specific text file that I made because I wanted to make sure that I get every speck of detail of Saturn. And I had it at my disposal essentially, so that I won't do the same thing that I did in the latter video that I did before this one, in relation to Mars, or the former video before this one, because in my Gebura video, I essentially left out let's just say like a few minor details in relation to Mars's aspects, such as judicial affairs, how Mars deals with judicial affairs, justice, authority, karma, uh, military enforcements, and law enforcements, and it goes on and on and on. But I already listed all of that under the Mars video itself, and so yeah, it's a pinned comment. You guys can go check that out if you like. But let's simply just get right to it with Saturn. So yeah, Saturn is the third sphere of the Sephiroth. It's called Binah in the Hebrew Kabbalah. But in mundane Hebrew, it's simply just referred to as Sabete or Shabte or Shabete. Um, and yeah, Binah simply just stands for understanding. It means understanding. And Binah, aka Saturn, is one of the highest spheres of the Sephiroth. It's one of the highest spheres. It's specifically the third highest sphere because Binah is the third sphere of the Sephiroth in general. So the holy number of Saturn is 3. So yeah, moving on. Saturn specifically rules over Aquarius and Capricorn as zodiacal signs. So generally speaking, general Capricornian aspects are hard labor or hard work, being cold. So coldness in terms of one's overall character in relation to coming off as cold to certain individuals. Ambition, great performance, or high performance essentially. In terms of achieving much in one's life, okay, so achieving a lot in one's life. It also deals with coming into terms with death and as well as necromancy, and it also has a certain, it also deals with the dead in general. So that let's just say necromantic affairs. And specific Aquarian aspects are social affairs, or in general one's social life, okay, so essentially having a lot of friends or a lot of followers attached to oneself, and as well as being amongst groups or being associated with groups of individuals, and it goes on. It also deals with one's dreams or one's strive or one's high hopes and etc. In terms of one wishes, what one wishes to achieve in their lifetime, okay, so whether if you want to become a singer or a prominent book author, and it goes on and on and on, anything really, becoming a, yeah, I already mentioned that if I'm not mistaken, becoming a public figure or a prominent amongst the masses, as well as success and technology. So all of man's creations and developments, essentially, that is all what Aquarius deals with. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Saturn overall also deals with death and destruction, so necessary forms of death, as I mentioned, but death in a necessary fashion, not death in a violent way, not death in a destructive, aggressive way like Gebura, like beloved Mars. It deals with death in a more dark and necessary constructive fashion. So that is pretty much that, and it also deals with destruction in a dark horror movie like fashion. Disregard that. That's my planetary clock. At it again. Ironically or surprisingly, it's the hour of the moon again, and I shot a video earlier today, and which was the one on my listings that I essentially uploaded, and it was the planetary clock ran in that one. It rang in that one, and it was the hour of the moon, day of Mercury, and it's the same thing right now. It's the hour of the moon once again on the day of Mercury, which I just found funny. In any case, so yeah, It deals with dark. It deals with destruction and death in a dark horror movie like way. So in a haunting like way, in an astral like way. So destruction in an astral way. If you essentially hear about any hauntings or any stories about hauntings going on, or someone getting possessed, and it goes on and on and on, 7 times out of 10 is a Saturn. It's a Saturnian spirit because Saturn, generally speaking, deals with this as a whole, and yeah, Saturn also deals with death, and once again in an astral perspective, but let's just say specifically aiming towards astral corruption. So it'll essentially corrupt someone astrally. It'll corrupt their astral body to the point in which they drive themselves mad, essentially, and they just go insane, batshit crazy, essentially. And what else? And it also deals with despair and suffering as well in a dark way. So it's pretty much, let's just say, okay, it's pretty much the dark. It's like a dark version of Mars. Okay, it's like a dark version of Mars, but not necessarily because Mars is a lot more different in nature. But this is simply just more. It's more simply just grim. It's more grim essentially. It's a grim celestial body. I mean, astrologically speaking, occult speaking, and overall, Saturn is literally like the black sheep of like the universe essentially. But in general, it's a celestial body. It's amongst the tree of life after all. So yeah, it's not dark in a clephotic way. Okay, it's dark in a necessary constructive way. It's the black sheep of essentially the universe, as I stated. So it's just necessary forms of darkness. It's Elohim or Father or God's dark aspect in relation to his dark will, essentially, because all of these spheres represent different aspects of God's will. So yeah, Saturn is simply just what I mentioned. You know, the aforementioned is simply just the dark aspect of Elohim's will. So yeah, Saturn also deals with hold on. Hold on. Yeah. No, that's pretty much it, really. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing else, really. There's literally nothing else. So yeah, that is pretty much everything that Saturn deals with. Now, moving on. Yeah, I don't really need this shit anymore. I don't really need this shit anymore. Okay, I can close the text now. Saturn specifically deals with, Saturn in relation to the ruler of Saturn. Okay, Saturn is being ruled over by my beloved good friend, my beloved friend, or one of my favorite archangels, which I favor all of them, but in general, if I had to choose, it would be Samael and Zabkiel, and my vice lord as well. But it goes on and on and on. I in general, in all reality, I have no favorites, but like I said, if I have to choose, it would be those three. So in any case, it's ruled by my beloved Zapkiel. Okay, so Zapkiel with the P, not Zarkiel, Zapkiel. Okay, Tzapkiel. Okay, or you don't really have to necessarily add the H. You can simply just spell it Tzapkiel. Zapkiel. So don't get the two confused. Okay, don't get Zarkiel and Zapkiel confused because they have similar names. The only difference is one's spelled out with a D and the other one spelled out with a P. So yeah, and his seal is right here. This is just a token of our relationship and how I essentially wanted him to be amongst my life in the past. And yeah, um, very well familiar with, more than familiar with Zabki. And in any case, so yeah, that's the ruler of Saturn, of Binah as a whole. And the holy name that rules over the sphere is Elohim. So straight up just Elohim. I almost got it confused with Elohim Sabaoth, but yeah, no. That's simply no, that's simply Elohim Sabaoth is the holy name of Mercury, if I'm not mistaken. But I just have to look at my notes and shit if I ever have to confirm it, because I already wrote everything down a long time ago in a notebook about literally everything. So yeah. Um is simply just ruled over by Elohim, that holy name Elohim. So Elohim rules over that specific path as well as that specific sphere, because each sphere or each path, each Sephirotic path is ruled over by a holy name of God. So for Mars it's Elohim Gabor. Um, for Venus is Yahweh Sabaoth. For the Sun is Yahweh Aloha Vadat, and it goes on. For Cather is Ehe Ye. For the Moon is Sadaya Chai, and it goes on and on and on and on. Specifically for Saturn, it's simply just Elohim. That is all. So now, before I get to it with my experiences with Saturn in relation to how it looks in the astral plane and what to expect in relation to astral traveling there, the energies that it radiates, and it goes on and on and on. I've dealt with specifically three Saturnian spirits, as well as one of them being one of my own spirits that I created, which is an egregore named Tehila, which I've already covered in my egregore creation video, which you can simply just seek out in your own time. But I've dealt with Abaddon, I've dealt with Amaimon, Zabkiel, and my beloved egregore Tehila. So yeah, Abaddon has simply just came through for me for several things, really. Okay, in relation to destruction workings, which was we've took care of some in the past, and we still have some going on right now, literally as we speak. Um, I also set him in charge of bringing me more traffic on my website, which he did substantially well. You can simply just check out his article, and you'll see all of that in relation to the results of our working on Abaddon's article. Maimon simply just came my way because he wanted me to essentially write out an article with him, an article on him, as well as to shoot a video on him, which I'll be getting to it as soon as possible. And in a relation to Maimon, he also offered his services to me, but in general, I never really, I don't really need his services, which he also knows, but we'll see what we can do in the future as time progresses and whatnot. And Zabkiel, I've also had minor workings with him, just one time summoning, so to speak. But he's always around, he always comes my way and etc. He always visits me. He bestows upon me dreams, he visits me within my dreams, and it goes on and on and on. But in general, Zabkiel, in relation to our working experiences, so business that we got done with each other, I simply just had him do several little one-time summoning workings with me. So I will summon him once, or just simply call him out, better, more properly speaking, because I don't really need to host a ritual to invoke any spirit. I can simply just call them my way and whatnot. And I've had Zabkiel fix my computer. I've had Zabkiel improve the performance of my computer. I've also had Zabkiel potentially, let's just say I want a Zabkiel to destroy someone in a dark Saturnian-like way, but I essentially held back on it. So, yeah. But in general, Zabkiel was more than willing to do so. And that was pretty much it, really. That's pretty much it. I've also called him several times in relation to when I was simply just execute planetary magic back in the day when I was literally a beginner. And every time I would do so, he would also stop by and visit me and see to it that he properly bestows upon me the necessary Saturnian energies that I'm looking for, as well as seeking out different stuff in general of a Saturnian nature. So yeah. And last but not least, my egregore Tehila as well. I created an egregore who specifically corresponds to Aquarius. So he corresponds to Aquarius in nature, and he's Saturnian. And Tehila simply just means fame. It means famous or fame in Latin. So you can pretty much, it speaks for itself what I set my egregore in charge of, in relation to simply just acquiring or bringing me more traffic onto my website, so people to tune into my website, and it goes on. And yeah, he has the similar correspondence, zodiacal degree in Aquarius, as Abaddon does. These guys are both a specific degree in Aquarius, which I can pull it out right now, but it's just impractical. But you can simply just consult my Abaddon article or my Tehila article If you guys want to check out what specific Aquarius degree deals with becoming a public figure. But yeah, in general, he is like he's like a mini Abaddon, my egregore. So yeah, that is that. And these guys are all really good. I really love all of these guys, man. I love Saturnian spirits. I love Saturn as a whole in general. Just the darkness and the overall grim-like aspect of Saturn, as well as just how do I say this? How it's essentially like the black sheep. Okay, Mars is like the evil sheep, so to speak, the fucking wicked sheep, and this is essentially like the black sheep. Okay, the purely black sheep. It's just dark, not dark in a fucking, how do I say this, in an edgelord chthonic like way. No, 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 no. I mean simply just as dark, necessary forms of darkness, which is apparent throughout all forms and aspects of life itself. So yeah, that is pretty much beloved Binah and everything that falls under it. So now moving on, because my phone, it looks like it's going to die. It's on 5%, so I have to shoot this really quickly. This was definitely not expected. In any case, yeah. So in relation to Binah, my astral traveling experiences with Binah, I simply just decided to do so one day. Okay, and long story short, when I made my way onto Binah, everything was really dark. In relation to, let's just say, dark in nature. Okay, it looks like my Lord Abraza's sphere, but in a more different way. Okay, so the skies were literally like this dark yellowy. It's like it looks like fucking, how do I say this? It's just a dark yellowy like color. Okay, it almost looks like a bronze like color, but not necessarily. Not bronze. No, bronze is a lot more brighter. What I'm referring to is specifically like everything is just dark yellow. Okay, it looks almost orangey like. It looks very. It just looks very grim like. Okay, and the clouds were straight up black. Like it looks like fucking piles of smoke that comes out of a factory. Um and the ground was specifically made up of dirt and stone, nothing else really. So that's what the floor was made out of. And what else? The trees were black as well. I also noticed that as well. The trees, there were certain plants there, but everything was literally just dark in color. Okay, nothing essentially radiated fruitful like color. Everything was literally just black. And if it wasn't black, it was grayish or just some dark yellowy like color. And the trees were definitely like that. Okay, the tree leaves were specifically like a dark yellowy color. When and in turn the tree bark, so the tree wood was black. It was literally just dark. And what else? When I was there, I saw beloved Zabkiel there, and I saw a bunch of Saturnian spirits there as well. I also saw Abaddon there briefly, and I simply just greeted him. I simply just said hello to beloved Abaddon. And I simply called Zabkiel my way so that he can give me a tour around his sphere. And he did so. Okay, he simply, how do I say this? He levitated me essentially into the air, and he gave me a tour throughout his sphere. And I found it really beautiful, man. Oh boy, I really adore Saturn, as well as the energies that it radiates. Um, but yeah, you simply just have to watch out, okay, with Saturnian energies, because it does have like a corruption like effect to it. If you can't handle it, or if you simply just how do I say this, or if you simply just overdose off Saturnian energies, that shit will really corrupt you over time. Okay, what else? I simply just told beloved Zabkia to essentially let me down so that I can enjoy the rest of my Saturnian visit on my own, so that I can do what I want and etc. etc. And he simply agreed and whatnot. And the way that Zapkia looked there was really beautiful. I really loved the way how Zapkia looked. Generally speaking, whenever Zapkia approaches me or visits me, he's usually wearing like black robes. Okay, so really black robes. They look like Tau robes essentially. Golden Dawn Golden Dawn like Inner Order. Okay, if you guys are familiar with the Golden Dawn and the Inner Order, okay, then if I'm not mistaken, the Inner Order wears black robes, because I forgot about that shit. It's been a good while since I touched that atmosphere of the Golden Dawn. Oh boy. In any case, so yeah, if you guys are familiar with the Golden Dawn and the inner order and the outer order, um, specifically the inner order wears black robes, or if I'm not mistaken, it's the outer order. But in general, it looks like towel robes, black towel robes, okay? And that's essentially what Zapkia would wear. But and this one has a robe. It's everything is connected. It's literally just a big robe with a hood on the back of it. And Zapkia's hair would literally just be really long and essentially like my hair's length, and it would sometimes be grayish, not so much grayish but white. Sometimes it'll simply just be black as well. And his face would literally just look like he looks like the rest of my patrons. So Samay, Raciel, Haniel, Rafael, it goes on and on and on. But simply just the dark, gothic looking like appearance essentially. Like his eyes look black. Okay, his eyes were black. Sometimes they're white, and sometimes he has no pupils at all. And what I'm referring to as white eyes is simply just like these grayish like pupils essentially. So yeah, but sometimes he doesn't have pupils at all, and it's simply just white as fuck. His eyes overall have like a black shade on it. Okay, it's almost like if it has like, how do I say this? Like not mascara, but some kind of like eyeshadow. Yeah, eyeshadow essentially. But it looks a bit more severe. And what else? And that is pretty much it. Sometimes he's holding like a book, like a big thick book, or if not, then he simply just he doesn't hold anything at all, and he wears sandals and stuff like that, and he holds a staff. Now, when the way that he appeared before me in my visit to Binah, he was simply just wearing Roman like armor. So stereotypical form that all of these guys take from me, because these guys know that that I favor historical militaries and etc. and medieval times and whatnot. And he was simply wearing Greek slash Roman like armor, so a chest plate essentially, and he also had like this little undershirt under his chest plate, and he had the long garment that with the straps hanging down from the waist down to the knees, those little straps that connect to the garment, and and nothing else really, some shorts really, and some sandals, and that is pretty much it. Though in this appearance he was holding a spear. He was literally just holding a spear. And other times he simply just appears before me in that form, but holding the typical, the, how do I say this, um a staff. Yeah, the staff essentially. But in other times it's simply just a straight up wooden staff. Other times it'll simply just be a staff with like a white or black ball on it, and that is pretty much it. And he looks more refined in this form because his face is not like it's not gothic in appearance. It doesn't have black markings or anything like that, but he does have those typical white pupils, or sometimes it's simply just his eyes are black or straight up white, and his hair is nice and curly and wavy and long and black. Sometimes it'll be brown, and just that's pretty much it really. Straight up Caucasian in skin color, and nothing else really that points out. His aura as well is not gonna lie, I never really saw an aura with Zapkia. Even now, honestly, with him standing before me, I never really saw an aura with him. Um, it's rare, really, honestly. And if he does radiate an aura, it's simply just, how do I say this? You can't really tell. You can't really tell, but it's just black. Okay, it's just black. That's why it's not even mention worthy. It's simply just like a black dimmer around him, and that's pretty much it. And his voice is pretty much just. It has an echoey effect to it. It's really loud as well. It's as loud as Hamia's voice, and that is all. So while he was there, he simply just let me do my thing, and that was all. And I simply just began to meditate under the energies of Saturn and whatnot before I made my way back. And when I simply made my way back after everything, um, oh boy, let's just say, okay, I really had to cut things short. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. I really had to speed things up and quickly make my way back, and I had to cut my meditation exercise really short while I was in Saturn, because let's just say, okay, the energies of Saturn was really taking a toll on me because I was literally like imbued. I was literally radiating nothing more than Capricornian Aquarius like energy, and that shit was really starting to take a huge toll on me. I'm fucking camera. And anyways, it was taking a huge toll on me to the point in which I was starting to feel nauseous essentially. And bear in mind, this is where the corruption aspect comes in terms of heavy loads of Saturnian energy. It was starting to make me feel nauseous and dizzy and whatnot and hazy. And I wasn't feeling like that astrally. I was simply feeling like that physically. Like I can feel the Saturnian, the heavy loads of Saturnian energy essentially make my physical body feel like that. And that's when I was like, oh boy, yeah. I'm simply just gonna cut it short really fast. And that was it really. As soon as I acknowledged everything, I made my way back as quick as possible, and that was all. And then that was it really. I simply just simmered down and chillaxed under the remaining energies that was radiating within me as an invoker, so flowing through me up and down through my kundalini and throughout the rest of my astral body essentially, as well as my physical body. The heavy amounts of Saturnian energy that was around, and it felt really great. Okay, the only reason why that was starting to happen to me while I was in Saturn is because it's been a good while since I dealt with heavy amounts of Saturnian energy, so I had to briefly get used to it. But I already visited Saturn a bunch of times after that, so yeah, I'm way past all of that. That's nothing. I simply just, it's like, how do I say this? When you essentially used to ride roller coasters all the time in the past, and when you took a long break, like fucking years worth of a break essentially from riding a roller coaster, and then all of a sudden one day you ride on this hefty ass roller coaster and it makes you dizzy as fuck. That's what I'm referring to. But after that one roller coaster ride, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember the feeling. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much how I felt. So yeah, that is all really. In relation to Saturn, nothing else really to mention, or nothing else that's mentioned worthy, honestly. But yeah, I simply just have to quickly cut things short because my phone is dying right now. So yeah, which sucks. But but yeah, in any case, that is pretty much it, really. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Saturn, and see you guys soon. That is all. Bye bye.